So what I love about this protocol is that we all bring varying levels of knowledge to the table. And I use this protocol with students too because it is a really easy way to have an entry point into heavy content. Because we're starting with our own connection into something that is going to get to be much deeper and bigger and heavier. And so I think it helps to lower the affective filter, which opens up space for learning. As we transition into the second layer, and I'm seeing similar things on posters too. As we transition into the second layer, which is a shared text, so yes, we all bring our own levels of knowledge, but there's some basic information about this topic that I think that we all need to know and learn. And then there's some things that may need to be challenged or questioned about the topic, and so you'll get that piece too in the shared text. So as we transition, I'm going to have someone read a small passage to give us food for thought and to frame the next section. And then as we go into the next section, there are shared text on your table that I stuck under the poster. If I didn't stick it, I'm coming. We're going to read that. We're going to be looking for new vocabulary, new ideas, new information that we can include on our brainstorm about microaggressions. That was a lot of information. We're going to do that in a new color. Who can recap for me? Go ahead.
I should clarify the question.
Okay,
I can also recap.
Yeah.
So we're going to read the shared text and in a different color write new things that we learned about microaggressions.
Yes.
Clarifying question, can we write in the text?
Yes, you may. Thank you for asking that clarifying question. Other clarifying questions. So before you start reading, can I get Brian to read this, please? Let's activate our auditory listening skills. That's something I need to strengthen for myself.
The most detrimental forms of microaggressions are usually delivered by well-intentioned individuals who are unaware and have engaged in harmful conduct towards a socially valued group. These everyday occurrences may, on the surface, appear quite harmless, trivial, or be described as small slights. But research indicates that they have a powerful impact upon the psychological well-being of marginalized groups, and they affect their standards of living by creating inequities in healthcare, education, and employment.
Thank you. Okay, food for thought as we dig into, yeah.
Definitely address the idea that the ode to health came with the intentions idea.
Yeah. And I'm going to suspend what I'm going to say so that you can have time to engage and then talk with your groups about the new information. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, I'm going to give you about 7 minutes to do this next layer. Did I not give some people shared text? Does every table have a shared text?
For seemingly
That's what I want to highlight.
Yeah,
It doesn't let us on the page. And sometimes it isn't.
yeah, like so, yeah.
That's why I said, to make sure I say no, also sounds challenging and questioning getting this work.
like unintentional or intentional, definitely if it's intentional or even like equal unintentional. I think that's a good.
That's it. I think that it can be. Here's my thought. Or it's not even my thought on this.
Facial expressions.
Oh my God. So it doesn't mean that you are
Like in the beginning of
yeah, like that. But like when you take them, like
the way you were
and so eating like
or just like
So it's basically
we need to add on to your way.
can we put something about like kind of directed by people like you said I'm trying to clarify. You just teach your voice.
Oh yeah, like that's the difference. That's my mind. You're thinking, why are you speaking like that? And then you start thinking like, oh, an architect, well, they have a common experience point of view.
like get new information, but also challenge and question. Information that is being presented to us. I always have to go back to Mr. K about how so many things depend on context and time period, and so recognizing that some of these things are very real and very current, and some of these things may be dated or just out of context, I think is really important to note. As we transition into the third layer, there's another passage that Lisa's going to read for us. Can I take your question offline? Okay.
What do microaggressions say about us? Racial, gender, and sexual orientation microaggressions are active manifestations and/or a reflection of our worldviews of inclusion, exclusion, superiority, inferiority, normality, abnormality, and desirability, undesirability. Microaggressions reflect the active manifestation of oppressive worldviews that create, foster, and enforce marginalization. Because most of us consciously experience ourselves as good, moral, and decent human beings, the realization that we hold a biased worldview is very disturbing. Thus, we prefer to deny, diminish, or avoid looking at ourselves honestly. Yet, research suggests that none of us are immune from inheriting the racial, gender, and sexual orientation biases of our society. We have been socialized into racist, sexist, and heterosexist attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. Much of this is outside the level of conscious awareness. Thus, we engage in actions that unintentionally oppress and discriminate against others.
Thank you. As we're going into the next layer, I really want, it's tricky to balance the conversation with actually getting the ideas on the paper, but it's really important that we're getting our new ideas on the paper, because when we walk away from this conversation, we need a visual artifact to bring us back to the conversation and to the learning that occurred here in this space, because these things are going to happen. And they're going to be difficult. They can be difficult. They might not be. Jamila reminded me that they don't have to be, but they can be difficult. And so I think having a visual reminder for us will kind of help illustrate our journey through this process. So make sure as you're talking, you're capturing your new learning in the new color. Okay. So we're going to go into the third layer. There are, in these envelopes, lots of different color text. Gravitate toward the color that grabs you, the length that is what you are interested in reading. The idea is that each color needs to get read for the group. Every person does not have to read every color, but each color needs to get read for the group. Go ahead, I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to read and talk.
What's so late? Microaggressive.